All right, kindergarten, today we're going to try to finish up our Adobe Houses. So we're going to add some details to our houses, and then we're also going to add some Adobe style pots, some pottery to kind of go with our picture. So first thing I'm going to do is use oil pastels to add some details to my house. First, I'm going to add some details on my windows. Maybe I'll add some little window panes here with oil pastels. I'm using blue so that it looks like my windows are kind of reflecting the color of the sky. I'm just going to draw some smaller squares or rectangles in here inside of my window and then fill them in. You don't have to use blue. Just drawing a rectangle and then kind of filling it in. And if you'd like, you could even use a white to add some little diagonal lines so that the windows maybe look shiny. All right, next I'm going to add the little wooden pegs that kind of go across the top of each section of my Adobe building. So I'm just using a different brown a different colored brown oil pastel than what my paper is. And I'll skip over the parts of the ladder and the windows, and I'll just try to make a nice little row of circles here on this bottom section of the house, and then I'll do the same thing on the top section of the house. Just skipping over anything that's already in the way. I can also use brown or any other color to add some details to my door. Maybe I want to make it look a little more like wood, a wooden door. So I might add some texture or some lines here. Let's see. Maybe I'll kind of give it a little wood grain pattern. You can decorate your door and your windows how you'd like. You could even add some other details. All right, next I'm going to decorate the rest of my desert area, my background area here around my plants by maybe using some kind of neutral colors like brown, black, gray, and white to add little rocks or stones. This is the desert after all. Might have little pebbles and rocks and things out here. Maybe a few on this side too, since I've got a little space there. All right, and then the last thing we're going to do today, once you've finished drawing your oil pastels, we're going to put those away. And we're going to use a small piece of paper here to make some pots. And so I just really am going to make maybe like 3 to 5 pots on this page. I'm going to use my Sharpie first to draw the shape of the pot. And the shape of the pot can be any shape you want, but it does kind of work out if you kind of draw the top, make the sides match. It can be any shape. You could even make it kind of a vase shape. Draw my top, kind of make my sides match, and then draw my bottom. Again, I'm going to try to draw anywhere between 3 and 5 of these little shapes. And if you make a mistake on one, you can always find another area to draw. And then I'm going to fill in my pots with just black and white designs. So I'm going to start with my Sharpie first. And the easiest thing to do is just maybe some lines. You could do straight lines, horizontal, or vertical, up and down. You could do zigzag lines, or crisscross lines, diagonal in one direction, and then diagonal in the other direction. You could add wavy lines or even draw some shapes like diamonds. Or you could draw some shapes like triangles. I'm going to connect them together there. Or even do a combination of shapes and lines. And I can even draw more than one set of lines to kind of make my lines a little more interesting. Crisscrossing lines here and there. I'm going to do some zigzags and some diamonds here. Make them all maybe a little different. Now, to add a little bit more contrast here, I might color in some of my shapes and lines with my Sharpie. Make them all black, and then I might leave some the color of the paper, and then some I might color white. So I'm going to pick something on each one of my little pots to color black. All right, then I'm going to pick a few things to color white, and I'll use a white pencil for this. And I'll push down just a little bit to make it nice and bright. And some of my pots can stay the color of the page. I don't have to color all of the parts black or white. All right, when I'm finished decorating all of my pots, I'm going to cut them and glue them onto my paper. Now, one cool thing you could do on this part is some of your pots can just kind of go in front of your little house down here. But if you have some little ones that are the right size for your plants, they could even be the pot that a plant is in. So for example, I could put a little glue on this one, tiny bit of glue, and it could be the pot that this cactus is growing in. So I can glue it right there, or I can glue some of my pots just kind of on the ground here in front of my house at the bottom of the window, or even up here if we've got room. So I'm going to cut and glue those in all different places. Just the tiniest bit of glue. And when I'm cutting, I'm really taking my time to cut right on the lines. I'm going to glue this one. I'm going to glue this one up here. And my last one, I'm actually going to maybe tuck it behind this one. Maybe move that one over a little bit so they look like they're overlapping there. And once your pots are glued on, if there's any other details you think you might need, for example, you could draw a little flower on some of your cactus or your succulents, or if you wanted to draw a little plant growing out of one of these pots over here, or put some spikes on your cactus, you can add any other details you think you're missing, and then we will be all finished and you can put it on the drying rack.